Hey everyone, Whitney Merriman here. I am here to talk about our resistance to change. Who doesn't have that, right? It's important because this is what is holding us back from accomplishing our goals. Let's first acknowledge that change is hard. There is no doubt about this fact, and it's true for every single person. Because when we're trying to make big changes, and if you think about it, whether it's a change in our life, like a new job, or something going on in our family new, or picking up a new health habit, all of that is like completely changing the way we do things on a day in and day out basis. So for our purposes, we're usually talking about things like picking up a workout or completely changing our diets. And one of the things that stands in our way of making the change and actually sticking to it is our own resistance to change. I absolutely have battled resistance throughout my journey to becoming a health seeker and a successful weight manager. And I've done it over and over and over again because I frequently told myself things like, I have too much on my plate right now, or I just don't have what it takes, or it's too hard, or sometimes I just don't want to. All of those are statements of resistance. And I figured out that in order for me to step out of what was my comfortable, very comfortable habits, and you know what I say about old habits, right? They're like a comfortable pair of sweatpants. They look like shit, but they sure feel good. But in order for me to make progress towards my goals, I had to deal with my resistance to change. And I know many of you are in a similar situation where you know you want to, sometimes you really want to, but it's hard. So here are some signs of resistance to change. Okay, let's group them into some groups, like procrastination. The time isn't right, not right now, maybe later. Or we have blaming. He won't support me. He doesn't understand. My partner sabotages me. There's changing the subject. Like when someone asks, how's it going with your bariatric surgery? You're like, oh, it's going really well. There's escaping by eating, drinking, smoking, shopping, talking, working too much. There is holding on to limiting beliefs. And there are all kinds of limiting beliefs, and we talk about those in our master classes, and we talk about them for sure inside of the Bariatric Success Method. But some of these kind of limiting beliefs are, I can figure it out on my own. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. It's too much work. It'll take too long. I'm just meant to be this way. They won't let me change. I don't have the right information. I don't know what to do. I don't want to limit my diet. I don't want to modify because I don't want to be restricted. I'm too old. I'm too worthless. I'm too stuck. I'm too fill in the blank. And then there's denial. Denial stuff like, I can't do anything about it. What good will it do for me to change? If I ignore it, maybe it'll get better. It's not that bad. I'm better off than I used to be. I hear this one a lot. Like, well, I am better than I was. And then the biggest resistance to change barrier we have is fear. Fear. Thinking to yourself, what if I fail? Thinking things like, I'm afraid to tell my husband how bad things really are for me. Fear like, but I might have to change. It might cost me money. It will be embarrassing. I don't have the energy. I don't have the time. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to be vulnerable. I don't want to get in a group where I have to address this. I might not do it right. I might not be perfect. I don't trust people. Certainly not with something this vulnerable. I'm not good enough to do it. So those are just some examples, some of the more common ones, some of the ones that I felt were kind of personal to me. But what resistance do you resonate with? Ask yourself, why do I believe this? Right? Because if you know anything about the way I like to teach things, it's that we have to be able to get curious about what's standing in our way. Because oftentimes these conscious or unconscious beliefs came from somewhere a long time ago, and we might not even be aware of them. And so it helps to really get curious about, why do I think this way? Of course, we have to first catch ourselves making these statements, whether it's making them in our head or making them out loud. But we have to say, wow, I just said, I can't do that. Or what if I fail? Or I just thought, what if it doesn't work out? What if I don't do it right? And think to yourself with some curiosity, where did that belief come from? Because it came from somewhere. Someone maybe told you as a child that if you weren't going to do it right, don't bother doing it at all, maybe. Or something, maybe somebody laughed at us, maybe when we lost weight and we did really well for a while, and then all of a sudden we started putting back some weight back on. Maybe that traumatized us because people were laughing at us and it was very embarrassing. And so losing weight again and gaining it back, there's a lot of fear there, right? So I don't know where it came from for you, some of these limiting beliefs, but that's for you to figure out. So what I want you to do in order to figure it out is get out a journal or a notepad and spend some time writing down these barriers to change and these resistance that comes up for you. A good way to start is just by writing your intention or your goal at the top of the page. So, for example, a common area for resistance for people that I work with is exercising. So if this is something that you wish to release the resistance around, then at the top of the page, write, I will start exercising today. Say it out loud, okay? And notice what feelings and mental statements come up for you. Write them all down. Just don't hold back. Just keep going, keep flowing, keep writing. And then next you're going to ask yourself, why do I think this is true? Get really curious. And next, write everything that comes to your mind here. Why do you think it's true that you don't have what it takes? So all of this is going to give you some powerful data that can then be the key to acknowledging and letting go of these limiting beliefs and this resistance, okay? This exercise is powerful because it's a way to take it out of your head, take your head out of the sand, and to truly dive into these faulty beliefs and challenge them rather than to accept them. Because we have to be able to acknowledge and accept and move past them in order to take action. And we all know that we can't have major change without taking action, right? So we can't a good example is if we want to get to the store to get groceries, we can't just think about getting to the store. We actually have to get up out of our seat, go find the keys, get in the car, turn the ignition, drive down the road, get out, shut the door, and go into the store. Because listen, we have to do the work around figuring out what's keeping us from taking action, because things that come easy for us, they're not lessons. We've already learned that. It's the things that are hard that are our lessons right now to learn and to figure it out. And so if we want to get past these beliefs that are no longer serving you, we're going to have to do some work. And so now that we've acknowledged our resistance and gotten really curious about it, what can we do to change it, right? Okay, I acknowledge I have this resistance. Well, the advice of Louise Hay has worked best for me in challenging my own resistance. And it's really a simple kind of an action. And you just look at yourself in the mirror and you say the following statement. I am ready to release the need for resistance to, and then you insert whatever your resistance is. So to going to the gym, to losing weight, to eating low carb. I am willing to release my resistance to eating low carb. I am willing to release my resistance to drinking more water. I am willing to release my resistance to exercising. I am willing to release my resistance to sweating. And then next, you just simply say, while you're looking at yourself in the mirror, I am willing to change. And you repeat this 10 times every day. I am willing to change. I am willing to change. Now, at first, you might notice some weird feelings coming up. You might even notice fear or your heartbeat a little bit quick or a little bit of panic, right? But if you continue this exercise daily, and then anytime you're really feeling that resistance to do the next right action, the thing that you set for yourself that you really want to get done and really conquer and tackle, it will have a benefit. Because for me, with this practice, I gradually, not overnight, but obviously started to notice less resistance and to be more open-minded towards my intended change. Like, I had literally talked myself into being open and willing to change. And perhaps you can experience something similar. So I think this is a great exercise for you to try, even if it just opens your mind up and makes the change or the resistance a little bit lighter to accept. Maybe just a little bit more positive in your mind. Because we have to become more aware of our patterns and ask for help in removing the things that aren't serving us, right? We can't expect to do it all on our own. Like, that's what therapy is for. That's what these, support groups for everything under the sun is for. That's what professionals are for. And I really want you to really feel comfortable and confident in asking for help, and then also trying different techniques for overcoming your resistance, overcoming what is holding you back. So I really want for you all to receive the blessing of the freedom that you're seeking. And I know that that comes from really diving in and doing a lot of hard work on ourselves, because I know a lot of people are like I was, in that I was my biggest obstacle. I was what was standing in my way, because I was constantly telling myself, I can't, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I don't have time, I don't know how, I don't want to. When I just needed to change the narrative that I was telling myself and view things in a more positive light in order to just take a freaking step forward. And so I just hope that maybe this exercise resonates with a few of you, and that maybe it'll open up your mind to just becoming a little less resistant to change. I, every single day, find myself saying, I am open and willing to change. I am open and willing to change. I am open and willing to change. Because you know what? I'm telling the universe, I don't have it all figured out. And I'm asking God, show me the way. And I'm open to receiving it. So I hope that maybe this helps some of you today, and just in kind of considering how we can move past some of our resistance. Have a great week, and I will see you soon.